today we're going to take a little tour. So the idea is we're going to go to an area called Sian Kaan, and we're going to take a tour, small tour, not too many people. Goes out into this jungle to this ancient Mayan trading post, which would be kind of fun. And then they've got this platform, you walk out through this flooded jungle to see the jungle, which would be neat. And then have a lunch by some really nice lake. And then we're going to use a boat and cross these crystal clear rivers. And then we get out into one of the rivers and float through mangroves, through bromeliads, through orchids, all this flowering and beautiful area in this crystal clear river. We're just going to float with life vests. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh no, no. We're going to see our first little ruins. Here, we're on the walk. We stopped at a little city called Mujil, I think is how they pronounce it. And it was a center from back 250 BC for Mayans. I guess a very important area. And these are actually pretty cool. Check this out.
No. This is way south, right?
Yeah. Okay. You think, honey?
Yeah, you still.
You should climb up there and jump off.
No, you cannot climb over, you remember?
This is super interesting. This site goes back to about 250 BC, and the temples we were looking at here were really made and were used by mathematicians, philosophers, government agents, kings, these type of higher echelon people, where the rest of the Mayan people lived out away from here. But these mounds that you see are actually what they look like when the archaeological digs began. And they had to reconstruct a lot of these buildings because they were just mounds with trees growing in them. Also, the Mayans recycled all their stone, so there's centuries of tearing down buildings and rebuilding buildings with the same stone because they had no horses, they never discovered the wheel, so everything had to be done by hand and carried on their back. So it made a lot of sense to tear down a building and keep the same stone versus trying to start all over.
People look at the structures and they say, how do you know that this is not a home? It's simple, guys. If we go around it, you guys are going to be able to see that there are no like big openings that would allow, you know, for the air to go in and out of the structure.
Something similar to Cambodia.
Yeah, Siam Reap.
What I want you guys to notice is this. We have the stairway. It looks complete on the right side. Se ve completa en el lado derecho de la escalera. On the left side, you guys can see some other steps that are buried in there. Okay, those steps that you guys see in there, they're actually part of an older structure. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Esos pequeños escalones son parte de una estructura más pequeña, chicos. Okay?
These temples show evidence of a pre-existing culture before the Mayans. They're known as the Toltecs, and you can see in these stairways, this little indentation is a previous stairway. One of the things about the Toltecs is they would build temples that had 4 sets of stairs exactly opposite of each other. This little platform here has 4 stairs exactly opposite of each other, so that's another bit of evidence of the Toltecs, which predated the Mayans. Very interesting.
This is called El Castillo. That is obviously a Spanish name, the castle. Don't forget that even though I mentioned that most of the cities would be rediscovered more or less around 1840, we go back again in history. The first people that would actually be looking at the structures at some point was the Spanish people, guys. Death is not the end, you know.
Right,
death is just part of life.
Yep. Still no too, you know?
Yeah, exactly. There is civilization. Right behind you guys.
The white one.
This reddish tree, este colorado. This thing in English is called gumbo limbo. In Maya, chaca. This is the good brother. Here's the funny thing. The funny thing is that the 2 trees, they're always growing together.
So, very cool. The Mayans had a philosophy of 2 brothers that were warriors, just like yin yang. One was bad, one was good. The mother was a goddess. She turned them both into trees because they were fighting over a woman. This tree is the bad tree. The red tree is the good tree. They grow together. But that black tree, which I'll get the name for, is like poison oak or poison ivy. The black fungus or the black spot on it makes you break out within 24 hours of these huge blisters. And the antidote just happens to be the red tree, the good brother, right next to it. And they're symbiotic. When they grow into nature, they grow next to each other, naturally.
Maybe they'll.
It's brackish water,
Right.
guys. This water gets in contact with some of the salt water, so it's a combination of both.
Right.
That's actually the reason why we see those fish. Some of those fish originally are supposed to be fish that are supposed to be out in the ocean.
Right.
However, I've been telling you, sometimes some of the cenotes are connected with the ocean, so over time, some of the fish were able to find their way into the land. And this panoramic tower, of course, just be very careful. I will be waiting for you down here from the top. You guys are going to be able to see the lagoon.
Okay.
So if you guys want to go. From here, we're only just a few steps away from our picnic. And from the picnic, we go on the boat.
So we made it to the top.
Oh my gosh. I think when going down, it should be creepy. I know. I agree. So you're taking it easy when going down.
So the ruins are over that way. You can't see them.
That's the lagoon. So this is the lagoon we're going to, right? I think so. Going there.
Ooh, yeah, I can see some clear water over there.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Very good. Okay, let's get our water bottle and picnic over here with hibiscus water. We have some scrambled eggs with cactus and carrots.
Ah, delicioso.
Oh,
Arroz
cactus.
primavera. We have some rice.
Cactus.
Cactus.
Bueno.
There will be some dessert as well for you. Oh yes, we got the brownies.
Son por ahí todos y todas esas poses que tú conoces gracias a mi mujer ni tu amigo, pero en vivo solo contigo disfruto el show, bebé. Alright.
This looks beautiful, man.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Right now, since there is no wind, the water looks like a mirror.
You got any piranhas in the water?
No, unfortunately not.
No, this is not Brazil.
But we do have a fish that likes to bite.
Really?
If you guys go to the reef, there is a small fish called damsel. It's a fish usually about this big,
Right.
and these fish are very territorial. If you guys start snorkeling at some point and you guys stand like for too long on a certain place that the fish might consider to be its house, it's gonna come up and poof, give you a little bite. It doesn't hurt or anything, but they do, you know, they don't care about other bigger fish.
Que lo que toca mi mano se dañan, pero amor es lo que dicen, como un color entre los grises. Yo nunca te fallé, tú no eres cualquiera, tú eres la mujer, mi corazón anhela. Pasan por ahí todos y todas esas poses que tú conoces gracias a mi mujer, ni tu amigo, pero en vivo solo contigo disfruto el show, bebé.
You guys know what Sian Kaan means?
No.
Where the sky is born.
Alright, cita, dime pa' dónde vas, que yo te caigo donde sea. Eres perfecta mujer, de la cabeza a los pies. Tú pasas de mi nivel, tú tienes el piquete, de la forma que tú ves.
At this point, we're going to jump in that beautiful blue river, and we are going to float it for, I don't know how far, but pretty far. I'm not going to take this camera. I'm going to take the GoPro, and it's going to be crystal clear, beautiful mangrove swamps going through this bluish water. I cannot wait.
Amarte es mi maña, que lo que toca mi mano se dañan, pero amor es lo que dicen, como un color entre los grises. Yo nunca te fallé, tú no eres cualquiera, tú eres la mujer, mi corazón anhela. Pasan por ahí todos y todas esas poses que tú conoces gracias a mi mujer, ni tu amigo, pero en vivo solo contigo disfruto el show, bebé. Alright, cita, dime pa' dónde vas, que yo te caigo donde sea. Eres perfecta mujer. más simétrica que un origami. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. Somos Adán y Eva, y estoy listo pa' tomar el castigo. Yeah. Y todo lo prohibido y los pecados que tú y yo hemos cometido. Son por ahí todas esas poses que tú conoces. Gracias a mi mujer, ni tu amigo, pero en vivo solo contigo disfruto el show, bebé. Alright, pasita, dime pa' dónde vas, que yo te caigo donde sea. Eres perfecta mujer, de la cabeza a los pies. Tú pasas de mi nivel, tú tienes el piquete. De la forma que tú besas, mami.
Well, the Mayans decided they needed to build several of these temples. And they had to build the soil up to bring the temples up because they knew they would sink because it's all mangrove forest. And this was a place of worship and possibly a place for commerce. But look how low the entrance is. And that's because, not because the Mayans were that short, it was because it's made so that you bow to show that you're bowing to the spirits and to the deities. So you come in, and what's interesting about this place is it's got the Mayan arch. So you can see the center stones that have been put in here and the arc at which they started to build. And then they would use these keystones on top to basically hold it. So the people that would be in here, priests, would meditate, come out and talk to the people on the outside. It's an amazing story because this is in the middle of a mangrove swamp. And the way they got out here, they built channels like these channels that we just floated. Just so cool, so much history here.
So, see you about exactly 1 hour from now here.
Okay.